to you all here on Newcastle Fans TV. We are live across YouTube and we are live on Twitch. We have three. Yes, we have three of us. I've kind of loaned Sam away from his podcast. We've got Carl from the wilderness and I've left Joe. So we've all just back the good old days of lockdown, innit, lads?
Yeah, you sound you actually sound COVID-y.
I do. I've got a bit of a man cold. I went to the gym last night for the first time in about 18 months and it nearly killed us. So, yeah, that's probably the after effects of
There's a lot to be said for that because Sam always says that exercise is bad for you, and I will say because I've had many videos I've wanted to do since I've started my running this year. I finished my Tough Mudder, and I've been unwell since. I've been unwell since
I
for
don't
like
know
6
why.
weeks.
Why do people not listen to me? You should stay as far away from your potential as possible.
Yeah.
I've finished this Tough Mudder. I've been tested for prostatitis, which I have. I'm getting tested for rheumatoid arthritis. Like I've had COVID. Like literally, I feel like I've had every ailment under the sun, and it's all stemmed from overexerting my body.
Brilliant. Well, at least
Just stay fat and happy.
Well, I plan to.
I think Sam's probably the best shape out of all three we have, then, from what it looks like.
Yeah.
Geordie, Tune for Live, good to see you in the live comments. Do keep your comments in. We'll come back to them every so often as we are live. We're not normally this live this early, so do keep your comments in. We are talking about the unbalance amongst the Newcastle United squad. We've heard Johnny and Sam had a brief chat about that the other night. We've done it on the last word as well. We want to just get into that a little bit more in depth. There might be a few disagreements potentially, but I think that's healthy of what the team should look like and so on. And I want to just jump straight to the two centre backs. And Sam, I'll come to you because you're probably sick of hearing about the talk of Mark Gahey. We'll get it out the way first of all. Do Newcastle come back in for him?
For the right price, I don't see why not. I mean, the priority, which the priority is right wing for me and has been for a long, long time, which we'll come on to. But yeah, for the right price, I did a video the other week, didn't I? Saying, the longer this goes on, and comparing it to the kind of similarities between this and the Van Dijk deal between Liverpool and Southampton all them years ago. Because the deal couldn't be done in the summer, the players' form dips massively, and then he eventually gets the move in January and goes on to rediscover his form. Obviously, Van Dijk probably has a higher ceiling than what Gahey has, although you never know. I think we could all agree he's England's probably second choice centre back now behind John Stones, and gets ahead of Harry Maguire on merit, but. For the right price, I think that contract is whittling down. I'll be very surprised if he signs a new one at Palace. Parish could have cashed in for a fee that would have been probably inflated, and Palace would have done well to get that 65, 70 million off Newcastle, because he's probably not worth that. But if we can get him for what? 45, 50, you'd probably take that, wouldn't you?
Do you want to sign him? Because the argument I'm going to throw back is, do we not have enough centre backs by the time Lascelles and Botman comes back?
We do, but this purchase would signify the kind of long-term partner for Sven Botman. So yes, we have numbers, but they are aging numbers. Cher and Lascelles now both the wrong side of 30. And those are your right-sided centre backs, aren't they? The rest are pretty much all left-sided. Byrne, Kelly, you could probably count Kraft as a right-sided centre back now, I suppose. But you need that one of real added quality to be the long-term kind of partner for Botman, who we have missed massively.
Yeah, I'm going to comment on that in a minute. Carl, obviously, Sam touched upon Gahey's form at the start of the season. It's not set the world alight, and obviously he's only have 18. Well, that's fancy. How have you done that? You've got a nice little like on your little picture there.
This happens to me on StreamYard as well when I do the Chronicle podcast sometimes. It just recognises...
I thought that was Carl, just with his fancy tech.
No, it just happens. I think I don't know why. I don't know how or why it does it, but it does it sometimes.
Like the video, whilst you're there. Like the video. Yeah. I thought Carl was having some sort of. Oh, way. Keep them legs coming. Carl, back to the question. I'm sorry, his form's dipped. He's only got 18 months left. Is this someone you would go hell and leather for in January? Because personally, I wouldn't.
Not hell for leather, but I think it's probably gonna, like Sam's mentioned, I think it's probably gonna fall in our favour. I think Parish can't be realistically thinking he's gonna get 70 million for him at this point unless his form drastically improves. Obviously, with the contract dwindling down, you'd expect his price to start coming down ever so slightly as well. So if we can get him for around £50 million, I think it's a very sound investment. And the thing is, I don't really know where to turn to other than that because the players that we were looking at across the continent have obviously gone elsewhere, or the players that we were talking about across the continent have gone elsewhere. So
Not
um,
all.
there's not all, but there's not at this point after missing out on them in the summer. There isn't an abundance of centre halves that I would be looking at personally, and it seems like Eddie Howe's set on Mark Gahey, so he's going to be licking at his lips at the potential of getting him at a reduced fee. You would have thought.
Yeah.
Mm. And then also, you would think, can we hang on to the summer instead and go and get that right wing in January?
Yeah,
I mean, we'll come to the right wingers. I just want to read out a couple of PD Prowler. Good to see you, mate. I wouldn't go back with Gahey again. Paris will push us pillar to post again, and he's looked well off his game this season. I don't think he has as much power now with his 18-month left because it's getting to that bracket now. We desperately need that right winger either, and Wemo or Malin, he scored the other night, didn't he? Wouldn't fit the front three positions perfectly. And Jordy Toon for life, Botman and Lascelles are due back soon in January. We need to address this right hand side up front and maybe another quality midfielder as the drop of the fairy big, in my opinion. What? The drop of his fairy are fairly big. Junn's gone out to say a proper right winger and a proper backup striker will bring balance to the team. Tamori, says comrade Curtis, and Scott's gone on to say anything that was spending big in January are very naive. Our PSR problems haven't changed. There's some big sales will be required. I
No, that's not the
disagree.
case. That's
Disagree
not
on
the
that.
case.
I disagree on that. There's a light coming next to you, Sam. There you go.
Maybe because
Um,
it's vastly disagreeing with what was happening. To be fair, there's still value to be had in the European market. I mean, Antonio Silva going to Leipzig to replace Simican was one that we really
hmm,
let slip under the radar. Yeah, he would have been ideal, and me and Carl have spoke away from lives, and we've been talking about Girassi because we both still follow Dortmund quite closely since we went there nearly this time last year, I suppose, wasn't it?
on
yeah,
the
it was.
last, yeah.
And Garassi's doing continued his rich vein of form, and he would have only been because of a release clause £2 million more than what we paid for Asula, um, which is fairly sickening.
It is. It is. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in January. But I disagree on that comment because we do have money to spend on that as well. But just going back on topic of Botman and Lascelles, Carl, I'll come to you. I think Botman is pretty much the present and the future. Yes, did perform, but obviously he was playing with an injury, which we'll not get into because that was ridiculous. But what do you do with Jamal Lascelles? He's out of contract at the end of the summer. Does he just stay and then he becomes a free agent?
Um, I don't really know what valuation you could put on Jamal Lascelles at this point. He's not. He's obviously been injured himself. He's not played enough football. For Newcastle fans, we know how much of a huge impact he has on and off the field. He can be a scapegoat at times, and he's not. He has times where he's not confident. But then you look at the PSG game, and he has these absolutely fantastic runs of form. It's a difficult one with Jamal because I would just love him to stay at the club forever, but it's just not feasible, is it? And I'm sure that's not the role that he would want to play. He's going to want to start playing first team football again at some point. And if we were to give him a new contract, realistically, what sort of fee would we be looking at selling him for? I don't know. And is it worth doing that other than maybe just getting him off the wage bill? And I mean that most respectfully because Jamal Lascelles has been a fantastic part of Newcastle United, and
Yeah.
regardless of what happens, I wish him all that success. So I think realistically, you're probably going to look at reducing the wage bill there because I don't think he would command a hefty fee. And if you do sign a new contract, there's probably going to be signing bonuses and that thing, and you need to see whether that's going to offset. So, um, unfortunately, he probably could be one that leaves on a free.
Yeah, Emil Kraft might be one I do want to come back to. I've got these two lads pictured, Fabian Shea and Dan Burn, because they're the first choice at the moment. It might take a little while for Botman as soon as he's back, just to get back into the side, because obviously match fitness, whatever. But Sam, would you be happy with how the centre backs are, as in Shane Byrne, until Botman comes back? Or are you adamant, right, we've got to go and get that centre back in January? Or can you hang on until next summer?
Well, Botman's due to be back around December. Whether he, comes back firing straight away, obviously it's a huge injury he's been out with. So whether or not he can hit the ground running or not, I'd be very surprised if so. He might just need a few, maybe even a month, just to get rolling again. Burn and Share have done quite well so far.
Only 8 goals conceded.
Barring Fulham probably, which was
Well, probably
pretty
both of
dis-
them are at fault for that, aren't they? Not,
yeah,
I mean,
that was pretty
Brighton one, sorry.
disastrous.
The Brighton one is, Dan Burns way out. I don't know where he is, and Fabian Shea doesn't read the 1-2, and next thing you know, Danny Welbeck slots it in. But overall, we've only conceded 8 goals, so
Well, it's
it's
Livramento as well for me that
yeah.
was very poor in the Brighton goal. But that centre back pairing is probably good for a top 10 finish. It's not good enough for a top 4 finish. Um, so you get Botman back, and happy days. That makes that centre back pairing 5 times better than what it would be. You look, Burn and Share have, on the whole, have been good. You know what Share can bring going forward, and Burn has, on the whole, been solid. The odd blip there that we've discussed, but it makes you realise when you see the goals we've conceded since Botman's been out, and I've used the word minging a lot on the last word lately when describing some of these goals that we've conceded, and that just doesn't happen when Botman's in the team. He's just a class above. I don't know if you saw Sean Longstaff on with Lineker and Shearer last week,
Yeah.
but he was absolutely spot on. Like Botman, assuming he comes back from this injury, with any
Mm.
kind of resemblance of his former self, he could slot into pretty much any team and not look out of place.
That's why I'm saying, do we need a centre back in January? I know Eddie Howe might look at it differently and think, well, wait a minute, I need that. And we had the whole carry on with Paul Mitchell and the PSR, and not the PSR, the whole going after one player and one player only. What Mitchell come out and said. Um, but I think we've got one there. Botman, yes, as I say, Sam, you might need a few under 21 games, 45 minutes, then an hour, then similar to Emil Kraft when he was out for
And
quite a
he'll
long
get
time.
it. He'll
Yeah,
get it. And how won't just in the days of old where right he's back, stick him straight in and play 3 games in a week like Bruce did with Florian Lejeune,
yeah.
which ruined Lejeune. How will take his time with him and not kind of force him, assuming that there's not another huge injury crisis on the way, but. It's different levels, and obviously, if we do sign another one, which we will need long term, there's no doubt about that. Lascelles, like Carl said, will probably go for a free at the end of the season because you wouldn't get a lot for him. You probably wouldn't get a lot for Share because of his age as well.
Mm.
But I would expect Share to sign a new deal for because he's out of contract as well this summer. I would expect him to sign for another year or two. Um, but yeah, I would. It's just a whole different ball game. The Rolls Royce needs to be taken out of the garage and be put back on the road again, and it will make a significant difference.
Well, Carl,
Jamal Lascelles on a free for any newly promoted side, by the way. Absolute steal.
or even going to,
Absolute steal.
well, he might go back to Forest. You never know. That's his
Yeah,
hometown
like
club. You know,
any sort of,
Bottom half of the
what
table
to me.
team.
Yeah, yeah, absolute steal.
Carl, I've got some questions for you. You're playing manager role now. He has his centre back, so people who can fill in at centre back. As of the expiry, we've got 3 of them. Emil Kraft, who, to be fair, when he comes in, I don't think he's put a foot
Yeah,
wrong.
I know. He
Jamal
hasn't.
Lascelles. Out of Kraft and Lascelles, for me, I'm keeping Kraft. And I thought I would never say that. I just think with Kraft, I think he's happy, he's low wage, he's steady Eddie. Is the club captain, let's forget, because Lascelles is still that. Is he happy to play 1 and 3 and get a sub appearance here and there? I don't think so. But out of those 3 that are out of contract, do you expect Fabian Shea to sign a new deal and Is it maybe one of the other two?
I think Fabian Schär definitely signs a new deal. I almost think he not finishes his career, but maybe finishes his English domestic career at Newcastle United. He'll probably go out, whether he goes back across the continent. But I think his last English football will be with Newcastle United. Um, Jamal Lascelles, I think, will go on a free. I'm not. It really depends on whether we do pursue Gay. But I'm not convinced that we're giving Millcraft a new contract either.
I'm not
Um,
against it. Like, if it's another
I'm
one,
not
yeah, I'm all
against
right.
it because I do agree with you, especially like what he was every game I've watched him. Probably in 2024, he's been fantastic. To be fair to him, he really hasn't put a foot wrong. So, and like you say, very very surprising. But I just don't see that he will be with us at the end of
Is
2025.
it the versatility element? Because obviously, I would
True.
class him as a right centre back now, not a right. But I don't like him at right back. I think he comes too narrow, and we get left quite exposed. And obviously, Lascelles is just an out and out centre half. Who was fantastic before his injury last season. Lascelles was just showed why he's good enough to stay in and around that squad. I would be keeping. Oh, it's such a tricky one because obviously there's question marks about Trippier as well. So
Yeah, true.
there's then question marks about do we now need to sign another
Yeah,
right back to kind of compete with Livramento?
It's a good shout.
no,
It's
it
a good
makes
shout.
absolute sense.
What did you call? I'll come back to you, Dan Burn. He was asked the press conference in the press at Eddie Howe the other week. Dan Burns only got 18 months on his deal, and he's 32 now. It's a tricky time for him, I think. Although I think he's been fine at centre back.
He's not going to want to leave
No,
at all. He knows he's not going to get a better offer than Newcastle United. He absolutely, obviously loves the club. He's not going to want to leave. There's the argument that, not the argument, but we know Fabian Schär is getting on. He's more going to probably become, unfortunately, more prone to injuries, or he's going to start feeling the issues that he's had with his knee. We don't know that, like you've mentioned, obviously Sven Botman is levels above, but two ACL injuries isn't going to do anybody any good. So we pray that he comes back to the levels that he was, or some semblance of that. I think Dan Burn has an opportunity to continue playing the role that he has done. I can't envisage that we're going to have Fabian Schär and Botman fit together
long
at
term.
any point, if
Do you
I'm
think Dan
completely, yeah,
Burn?
long term.
Think Dan Burn's happy to be a squad player?
Yeah.
100%, 100%. 100%. And he'll just keep doing what he's doing, keep being the consummate professional he is, battling, knowing that when his time's there, whether it's at left back or centre half, that he can more than do a job.
Mm. Let's have a look at what he's
And
saying in
he's
the
got the
comments.
passion for the club as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he
So,
loves it. He absolutely loves it.
it's
One of
someone
us,
that
isn't
we
he?
need.
So one of us. Jonathan Shea wants to wait his boyhood club. I think Fabian Shea is a director at one of his clubs as well, because I think he's put a bit of money into it, and I think that's what he's looking into. I think he will sign
Okay.
another. I think he will sign another year deal. I think, and I think after that, that might be where he steps away. I think Lascelles should stay. Leader, scores important goals. He works hard. Not sure what that
He
one is,
does.
but I mean,
He
he
does
scores.
work hard, but
I think we'll have to move on then. But he's a championship. Look
yeah.
at you've still got players from the championship under Rafa, man. Amanda,
Lascelles isn't. Were you going to say Lascelles is a championship player then? Because he's not.
no, but he's come from the championship, and we've had the same. So even one or two are still left from there now, and I think with
Yeah.
Lascelles, I think he'll be a good centre back for, as you say, for a bottom 10. I just don't think he gets. I think he'll play one or two towards the end of the season if he stays. I just cannot see him getting in. Unfortunately, I just cannot see it, especially with Botman coming back as well. And I know, yes, he might get ahead of Emil Kraft in the right centre back role as backup, but apart from that, is he going to play? Probably not.
Mm,
And obviously, the
I
captain's
agree.
been, well, he's still club captain, but the captaincy on the pitch has been given to Bruno, which we will come in a minute. What's the mood going to be like if we lost both to Chelsea and Arsenal? That Forest game is going to be huge. It's going to be piss poor at Clayton. That's what it's going to be. It could be a horrible week for us all. Move Trippier and Lascelles on, says Stevie. Get a top centre back and a right back, maybe versatile. You can play centre back too. And Scott's gone on to say Byrne is great defending in the low block. Unfortunately, he's too limited We want to control games. I really like to see Kelly given a chance at left centre back while
Yeah.
Spotman is out. That's not
Good
yet.
point.
It's
Good
a
shout.
fair point. We spoke about that. Another versatile player, and again, it pushes Jamal Lascelles and Kraft further down the pecking order, doesn't it, in terms of coming in? So yeah, it's a fair point.
Right, before we move on to midfield, then here's the question for you, Sam. Do you go and sign the centre back in January? Yes or no?
Well, it's not just a yes or no answer, is it? Because the
Well, it
priority.
is. I know you're thinking about it because of that
There's
maybe
there's there's parameters in
budget.
play that blur the lines, isn't there?
So, so I'll rephrase that then.
Yes,
If we
please do.
if we go and sign a right winger, are you happy with what we've got until the end of the season at centre back?
So it's one or the other. Then yes, I would be. Yeah.
Because we're not going to go and spend 50 on two positions, are we?
Why?
Because do we have that kind of money
Yes.
in January?
Yes.
You believe we do? I don't know. I think there might be some limitations to up to 100. We've definitely got obviously the Gahey money, but we'll see. We'll see on that. Carl?
No, I'm with you, both of you. Like if it's between centre half and right wing, I'm going out and out on a right winger, and I think we've got enough there at centre half to at least get us to the summer.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Carl. I'll agree. I want to go into the midfield because there's a lot of talk about the midfield and is it working? Is Joe Linton working? Is Bruno working in this with the captaincy? Is Tonali why he's not getting 90 minutes? I'm going to come back to Sam for this one with Joe Linton. Why is his form dipped so far at the start of the season? Is he just out of form and is it hindering Newcastle?
I wouldn't say he was out of
Can I
form.
just say, yeah, I was just going. Do people genuinely feel like that? And I just want to say this from a different
I'm playing
perspective
I'm playing
because
devil's advocate.
I was just going to say, you both have actually been at well, some the majority legal games, some the majority games, and I've for once took a step back and actually watched it more on the telly, and I just don't see it. I actually think he's been brilliant, but that might just be me.
I think he's been good and really good in two games where he stood out, but it's probably because for me, his levels have just rocketed in the last 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
He's not standing out anymore, and I don't think that's a negative because naturally you want obviously more world class talent alongside him. But is Bruno getting the game by the scruff of his neck? Is Joe Linton? The dynamics for the three. I mean, on paper, you would say it's Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali. On paper, you would say they're the best three, but are those actually working together?
No, not at the minute. But Joe, my 2 pence on Joe Linton, he's just been blowing very hot and cold.
Because he was out on the left at Brighton.
Well, if you think back to the season where we finished fourth, he was on the left for a large part of that season as well.
But do you think he works well with Joe Willock?
Yes.
But then what do you do with Anthony Gordon? Because this is where I'm getting with the balance.
Oh yeah, no, that's a huge problem. We've put all of our eggs in one basket and signed a plethora of talent for the left hand side, and we've just got absolute jack shit on the other side, which has been an issue for since before the takeover.
So,
We've needed a new right winger since before the takeover. Jacob Murphy was Rafa's big signing in what 2017.
yeah, 12 million, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When we came up.
Yeah, and then Almiron after that, who was the epitome of blowing hot and cold. So Joe Linton has been absolutely outstanding in some games. Some games he's been pretty good. And other games, Bournemouth right wing, Bournemouth away, he was absolutely horrendous.
It cost him a goal, didn't he?
So the right wing is the big issue, as we know. The midfield is the strongest area of our team on paper, but as we know, football is not played on paper. Um, because on paper it's one of the strongest midfields in Europe, but it's just not quite clicking yet. Obviously, Tonali being out for 10 months hasn't helped. Individually, they're all absolutely spectacular, but there's just something not always clicking between the three of them, which is why Longstaff is always employed in there to bring a bit of balance to the side, and is often made the scapegoat, but does a job in there. Tonali, I still would like to see in front of the back four, and then Bruno back on the right of the three where he was when he first signed.
Why is he not,
Um,
can I put in, why is he not getting 90 minutes? He
um,
does fitly.
because he might not be Eddie Howe fit yet.
What that?
I just don't. I know what you're saying. I just don't. It's that. I just can't see that that's the case because he is, and I'm sure you've probably watched
I
some of
thought he
the
was
early
good at
games.
Brighton against Brighton, by the way.
Like, I thought he was absolutely levels above everybody.
He is.
Levels, like he was doing things. He was doing things that aren't necessarily always like immediately, uh, you know, caught by the eye, but like his movement, even just some of the things where he's just doing little layoffs, where he's literally like steps ahead of everybody. Bruno
Yeah.
is absolutely fantastic, and Tonali is still ahead of him. Like
Mm.
he just does things that other players don't do. And we were unbelievable through the middle against Brighton. But like you said, we were just let down. And I feel like we've got to a point where we've not been good enough from the start of the season. We haven't found our levels. We're starting to get there in the midfield. But as the midfield's got there, the defensive things have dropped off and our attacking prowess has dropped off. And that's because obviously Isak has been out. It's just, there's not been a lot, there's the cohesiveness across the pitch hasn't been there. And it's frustrating because levels of the midfield have got to where we need to. I thought the defence were already there. They've dropped off, and unfortunately, Gordon and Isak aren't quite there yet. So it's just like there's no cohesiveness across the whole pitch, and that's what's frustrating.
That's a
I
question,
don't know
please.
why that is.
I'll come back to you, Colin, because I'm going to have your answer. Do our midfielders chip in enough with goals?
I th
And I'm not just including this
no,
season, but even
no,
going to last season.
no. They don't in terms of scoring, but the amount of chances. Joe Linton's passing ability, he's so underrated. His eye for a through ball is so good, so good. We've got Tonali that's capable of the same. Is more than capable of the same, and we saw that like I said against Brighton. Who are we? Me and Sam spoke off camera, and we know how good Brighton are. For some reason, half of our fan base decided that we were supposed to go and turn Brighton over when we know that Brighton are always in and amongst it and are a very good attacking side and difficult to play against. We tore them apart, and the midfield created so many chances. So in terms of chipping in for goals that way, I think we do more than enough, and they're let down by the front three. Um, but in terms of scoring themselves. I think it's difficult with the way that we play because if they press too high, we're easily caught on the counter.
And out of those three, Sam, who would you like to see most advanced? For me, I would want Bruno.
Hmm.
None of them three are prolific. They're all kind of. I mean,
In
they're
terms of
all,
creating, who's the best out of those three?
but in terms of creating, Bruno is. But we've got no real midfielder of real attacking threat. The only one actually in the six midfielders is Willock, who has
Hmm.
real box to box capability and arriving in the box late to get on the end of something. Which Bruno was doing actually when he was on the right hand side of the three. That doesn't really happen now. He's in the centre. Tonali's never been prolific, but like Carl said, I mean, Tonali, you know what I felt about Tonali. I've been watching him since he was at Brescia. Um, the guy has so much talent. It's ridiculous. And we're like so lucky to have him. Yes, it's obviously not started ideally with this ban, but yeah, it's one of them where a change of system might need to be employed, where you could build a team around Bruno and Tonali if they get a relationship there. You can give Gordon a free role in the 10, I suppose. Shove Joelinton on the left, and you still need a new right winger.
Does the formation need to change, Carl? Are you happy with that, or does it need tweaked to get the best out of the three midfield?
I
Or
think we need.
can you change it to two, or is that too risky?
I think we need a plan B. I think we need a plan B because everybody has some sort of insight into how we play. And it's not for me to judge what Eddie Howe's doing. I just think we need a plan B. I thought, it worked very, very well. But when we couldn't break them down or we couldn't take our chances, then there has to be another way around that. And Joe Willock, you're absolutely right. Every time he comes on, um, he changes the dynamic and he's able to play out wide. And maybe he's a short term resolution for right wing, maybe. Um, but I don't know what the best formation is. I really don't. I wouldn't mind seeing this 4-4-2 when Callum Wilson's back. See how that works. As a plan B, I wouldn't want that to be
Definitely won't be
our
definitely
main.
won't be our long term formation. Put it that
No,
way.
you know, but I wouldn't mind seeing that as a secondary formation.
Hmm.
But the honest answer is I don't know. It's difficult because, like I said, I felt like we we got back to where we were in terms of playing our best football, but we just didn't get the result.
Could
I
you?
felt like fitness levels were there, everything was there, passing was there, vision was there. We just didn't take our chances, and that's all it boiled down to. And it's sod's law that when you don't do that, the opposite side are going to take a chance, and that's just how football goes.
Could you, Sam, have two defensive midfielders alongside each other and then have a attacking midfielder in front? Would that work?
Yeah, well, that's what I just said.
Oh, did you? I wasn't listening. I was looking at the comments. Oh well.
You'd have Bruno and Tonali in the middle, and then you could give Gordon a free role in the 10, and he'd have the freedom to go either side because obviously he likes to drift out from the left. And then you could have Barnes on the left as a left winger. You could have Joe Linton there. You could have Willock there, and then but you've still got an issue at right wing, which is why that has to be
Yeah,
the priority in January.
we are going to come to that. Let's have a
Barnes is
look.
doing my tits in, I'm not going to lie. I like him so much going forward, and obviously he's an excellent finisher, but every time he comes on, he kills Lewis Hall. Like his inability to track back, which is something we used to get on the likes of Atem Ben Arfa, Maximin, etc. Like he doesn't fucking work back at all, at all. Um,
We will
I'm
come.
not going to
Well,
start lambasting. It's just frustrating.
yeah, I am going to come to wingers in a minute. I just want to read some of your comments out. Kudas and Buemo, who are your lads taking if offered. We'll come back to that. We'll talk about right wingers. Scott, solid in the six, not sorted since Shelby left. Should be the main focus. It's too easily overran and counted out. Bruno as a shell when he first signed. Play a 4-2-3-1 double pivot in the meantime. YouTubers criticising professional footballers. Hey. Imagine being a fan, not having an opinion on video. Shocking.
I do. I never understand people's outlook like that. Like
Yeah, because
we're
people
not
do that on
supposed to
social
talk
media.
about things.
People do that on
Supposed
social
to talk
media
about things.
every single day. People do it in the stadium when they're at the game. It's part of the debate.
Oh,
4-2-3-1 needed, says David. And Chris Thoughts thinks that I thought Tonali was brought in as a number 6. And Cullum McGo, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. I'd say just move one of the midfielders into a cam position and don't change it too much. We kind of talked a little bit about Willock there, Sam. Um, I'm probably going to be disrespectful by calling it the backup three, but if everybody's fit, these three lads are going to be on the bench, aren't they? And there's out of those three, obviously Sean until recently started nearly every game, and
Yeah.
then obviously Lewis Miley's only just come back. I think Miley's going to find it tough, especially when everyone's fit to get in.
He's 18. There's no rush.
Oh, there's no rush. Don't get me wrong, there isn't. But I think he will find it tough. He's only just come back. We'll probably not see him properly until maybe an FA Cup. Like in a run of games, I mean. In terms of Willock, then, is he the one that you could rotate the other three with, as in the main three, which is Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton? Because out of these three, personally, right now speaking, I think Joe Willock's the best out of these three,
The best for what though?
as in terms of running the ball forward, getting
Yeah.
goals, whereas the other two are a little bit different.
Well, he's actually for that criteria, he's actually the best out of the 6.
And do we need that, though?
Yeah, some games we absolutely do. Yeah,
And Carl,
very, very much so because he brings a tremendous amount of energy, Willock, and he does bust along to get forward, and yeah, he has his strengths, that's for sure. But again, he's another player that's been very in and out injury wise, hasn't he? So to put a consistent run together has been tricky.
Carl, I just want to ask you: would you be all right if, say, you're seeing Joe Willock start and Joe Linton was on the bench for a game? You know, you're rotating a little bit, and it also on the second question on top of that, is Bruno undroppable because he's been made captain?
um, sorry about that. Oh dear me, my voice
Pop it
is
up,
gone.
Mido. Go on, get up
Sorry.
there.
Right,
Get a drink of water.
I know, yeah. It would pain me to see Joe Linton drop just because I've become a massive fanboy. But no, absolutely, I'd love to see Joe Willock start because he I echo everything Sam said. Like the amount of energy that he brings on, I always look forward to him coming on, and it does. He even when we have that energy for the first 45 to 60 minutes, he still brings something very different. He can play across the middle and obviously play out wide as well. And I think he's the one that contributes in terms of goals the most out of the midfielders as well. So I would absolutely be happy with the rotation. I'd like to think the personnel that we've got are all on board with that as well, um, and that there's no egos in terms of the rotation. Even with Bruno, I don't think he's undroppable. I don't think he's undroppable, and I do think he's got the attitude to be okay with it, especially being captain as well. Um, the media and fans of other clubs are obviously gonna would take that and run with it. But I think that we have the ethos across the team to be okay with this sort of rotation. I think it's definitely something that we could try because, like you've mentioned, even though we played very well against Brighton, things didn't still work completely because we ended up losing, unfortunately. So it's still early enough to continue to try things, and soon enough it won't be. So why not?
See, I don't think Eddie Howe will drop Bruno even if he has a run of bad form. I think he
No,
won't,
well,
and I don't think that's a good thing either. I think,
nor should he.
yeah,
No, I'm just saying if
but
he did, people shouldn't read into it too much because I think we've got the
Yeah,
mentality across the team to be okay with it.
because
yeah,
isn't centre midfield our strongest position on the
yeah.
whole
Hmm.
pitch? Maybe you
Yeah.
might argue left wing if you had Barnes and Gordon, or right wing Trippier and Livramento, but I would say centre midfield is where we are strongest. We've got depth. Right wing. Let's talk about it then.
I think James Kirkham's comment is exactly what I was trying to explain. I'm
Let,
absolutely okay with that.
Go on,
And
read it out.
I imagine he
Can you see it?
does.
Read it out.
Be happy with any of them starting as long as Eddie has an individual plan for each game. I think Tonali Bruno should ideally start most games, but the third MF slot is totally up for grabs. I absolutely agree with that 100%. Um, and I would like to think Eddie Howe has that in mind, and if he hasn't, I'm sure he has. But like an individual plan to rotate things for each game is exactly what we should be doing because it
Mm.
proves that we are looking at things tactically, properly, which you obviously would think that you would be.
Yeah, let's talk about the right wingers. Willock alongside Almiron. I don't want to sell Willock. I'll answer that, Chanel. No, thank you. Andrew Musgrove. No, Andrew. I know you're friends with Sam Mulliner, but we are not selling Harvey Barnes. I think he's
It
still.
wasn't Andrew that said that. It was Simon
Ah,
Bird who was on with Andrew.
okay. Simon Bird. We're not selling. What's the point in selling Harvey Barnes? He has moments. Come to that in a minute. Right wing. Okay. I'm already depressed just looking at these two because how the hell has that not been fixed? We've talked about it over and over, and Johnny was irate last week about it as well. In theory, I'll say this: they're both championship players in my eyes. I don't even think they're Premier League players. The pair of them. I think. Don't get me wrong. I think Jacob Murphy has come on since he's been at the club. I think he has gone up a couple of levels, but that level's not for Newcastle United for me. I know Sam, you've got a few right wingers that you'd love to see at the club, but for me, this position takes priority over centre back. We have to go and get that right winger sorted because if we play with these two, I just kind of say it's getting Europe.
Who would you start on Sunday?
Well, this leads me on to because I wouldn't start none of them, which leaves the actual side a little bit unbalanced because I would either have a Gordon or Bond over there because they're better at right wing.
No, but Barnes can't play there. He did for a bit at Fulham, if you remember. He was awful.
What, is he worse than these two?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Would you have a Murphy had a Bonds?
on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I wouldn't because I know Bonds comes in and out. And I think Bonds where you'll go missing for good 25 minutes, but he
yeah, but
has that moment, doesn't he?
you're just trying to put square pegs into round holes, and it's just
But
trying to.
isn't that what Eddie Howe's doing at the moment though? If I'm being on the other side, that because the reason of the video it's unbalanced because I think the team is unbalanced with Gordon having a little trip over there, right wing, the second half against Brighton. He's played up top,
Yeah,
played left wing. We don't know why the
yeah.
midfield three's not gelling.
Yeah. Well, the midfield isn't a case of balance. It's the attack
It's
that is.
Dylan.
Yes. You're sacrificing an awful lot. Should you
Just
move
thugging me
Gordon
iPad
out
in, Bevan.
from the left? Barnes doesn't work on the right. If you were balancing the side, then you would play Almer on there.
Or Murphy there, wouldn't you? But
You would play Almer on there because it's both inverted wingers.
but you wouldn't want any of them, would you?
Not really, but given Murphy's previous two performances, Almiron would start on Sunday for me.
I think it has to go and get strengthened, doesn't it, Carl, in January?
Oh, massively, sir. It's like we've all said. My son's big teddy bear in the background there. Sorry.
What's it called?
It's I don't actually know. I
Kind of
don't
name.
know. Shearer. We'll just
There you
call
go.
him Shearer. It's the one place that is priority to strengthen, isn't it? I do believe that we miss Miggy Almiron's work rate down that right hand side, but um, I've said this for a good year now that I'd like us to go and get the likes of it and Mbeumo, and obviously it's not going to be cheap, but we've got Gahey money, and I believe that would get him. Um, Obviously, Sam's talked about Kubo, which again would be a fantastic signing. And if we're really going to kick on, because I know we've got another 30 games to play, but we can quickly become adrift from that European
Yeah,
chase, if things continue the way they are. Because even when we're playing well, we're not getting results now, whereas we were playing badly and getting results. It's become a very odd season so far. And I know we've got loads of games, but we need to strengthen. We do need to strengthen if we've got any chance of keeping up with everybody else, because Chelsea are back to where they were. Hopefully we can get a result against them. But like you said, if we don't, and then Arsenal's going to be a very tough game as well. We've got Liverpool not far after that. Obviously Forest in between. Like none of them are easy games at all.
you could be getting a situation come West Ham at home on that Monday night off the back of 5 defeats, thinking, "Gee, this is a must-win," or Howe could be in trouble here.
Gone. Yeah, and somebody put in the comments earlier, that it's being overlooked about Eddie Howe's tenure at the club. It isn't. I think we all know without Amanda Staveley there, we just haven't spoken about it very much because it's quick for people to jump on your case about it. But I think realistically, we all know that if he doesn't make a realistic push for European football this season, his job is very much under
I
fire.
think he's gone. I think he's
And
gone.
it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but you have to be realistic that that's where we are,
I
So.
agree. I think if we don't get Europe by the end of the season, even though he wasn't, look, you can get in the argument, was he back? Did he want one player in the summer? But if he doesn't get Europe, the Saudis now have, well, yes, I know the Rubens have got 15%, but the Saudis now will want to run the club, and they don't want to be languishing around 7th and 8th every season. They want to
Of
start
course not.
knocking on. And I do fear for Eddie Howe if he doesn't get top. Fifth might get you Champions League. I think if he gets Europa League, I think that's acceptable. I think he'll stay in the role. But if he doesn't get any Europe, I think it's curtains for him.
And I think that honestly, I think the one telling factor will be is what they decide to do regarding the stadium. If they decide to rebuild or to build a new stadium, Tottenham Hotspur-esque, then Eddie Howe won't be around very long because they absolutely will be showing that they are pushing for to be the best club in the Premier League, which I know is their they say there is their aim, but actions obviously speak louder than words. And you brought the likes of Paul Mitchell in. I've said previously, on and off camera, that I thought Amanda Staveley's position was coming under fire because she was constantly in the media with regards to her financial struggles, and that the Saudis wouldn't take kindly to that. They didn't. People can say what they want. We know why she went. Um, Lots of us have been spot on about things behind and put our necks on the line and spoken about those things, and they're just logical things. None of us are like, completely enlightened about what's going on. We're just trying to follow things logically. And you look, that's what the Saudis are about. They have this long-term goal with regards to PIF and growing the infrastructure of the club and the global brand, etc. And we've been tied up with PSR, but Manchester City getting their win against the Premier League, that they may change things for us. And I think if they decide to build a new stadium, that is a huge thing. in terms of proving that they're looking to go where we think they are. And I love Eddie Howe to bits, and we've said this. He's brought so many memories to us, and I'll always, cherish them genuinely. It's been absolutely amazing. It's been one of the best times supporting Newcastle United that I can remember. Um, but unfortunately, he's in a shit position. He is. He's in a shit position, and it's almost down to his own success, which is a shame.
Yeah,
It's cat man.
I think another variable that needs considering as well now is obviously we're going to have a new CEO soon. Darren Eales was a
Yeah,
is a big supporter of Eddie Howe's. You see the way he spoke about him in the Amazon doc. Yeah, that's who's going to be
it's a
replacing
good point.
Darren Eales. So it's a very uncertain future. Whilst the kind of rumor mill surrounding Howard Mitchell has finally stopped because it got very tedious very
Yeah, it did.
quickly. But the new CEO could be quite instrumental as well.
Yeah, we'll be all eyes on that, won't we? And we'll kind of talk about the right wing. I mean, it's a position that we need fixing because I think you're going to have up until January Bond over there, Gordon over there, Almiron over there. You're going to have Murphy over there. Someone's even suggested Willock needs looked at in the comments before because of his leg work and pace. Something
It's
like
just all square pegs in round holes, though, isn't it? Trying to
that's
find a
the thing. Though,
solution, but
are we
it's
unbalanced? And it's hitting we because the money wasn't strengthened, and we've got players who've even I'll come on to the left wing position now, whereas Barnes and Gordon, I think it's two left wingers just playing left wing, no other position. It's very strong. We've got depth.
yeah.
So if Gordon needs subbed off 70 minutes, great. You've got someone who can impact
Yeah,
a game, or vice versa. If Gordon's got an injury, we're all right for a couple of weeks with Barnes there. It's when one of these two get moved, I think it's one, it deteriorates their game, and two, I think it's a hindrance for the team. And I'm talking about Gordon going up top as well. I just do not like Anthony Gordon up top. You look at the stats, the last 5 games, we've scored one open play goal. Now you can talk about Callum Wilson being injured, Isaac being injured, but we're unbalanced because we haven't got the depth. And we've bought a striker from Sheffield United who Eddie Howe wants to bring on every so often. And it's like, why? Give him a chance. Why have you bought him? Why is he on the bench? I just think it's so unbalanced. And then if we take a look at the striking options, this is if everybody's fit. It's Isaac first, then it's Wilson. If those two aren't available, Gordon goes up top, which he has been recently, and then you've got a striker on the bench. My argument, and I said this with Johnny the last word, is that you've got, and I've said this a couple of weeks, if you've got a striker on the bench, his natural instincts is to try and make movement for a cross and what have you. Gordon's isn't that. Gordon wants to come short, hit the ball up, and like 1-2s, curlers, whatever. Put your striker up top. I just think with Gordon up top, I think it deteriorates our game. I really do.
No, I prefer Gordon up front to Asula.
No, but I'm saying when Gordon goes up top because there's no other
Yeah, but
option.
it is what it is. Of course, we're vastly missing Callum Wilson, but there's nothing we can do about that now. Gordon was still the best option to have at the time. Isaacs, didn't look sharp at all on Saturday, which was concerning. But class is permanent. He'll be back
Yeah,
before you know it, and he's a
totally
world
agree.
class. He's a world class striker. Wilson is the big miss because when one is out of form, you rely on the other one, and Wilson just cannot be relied on. And it's frustrating, very frustrating, because we know on his day he's brilliant. If he stays fully fit all season, he could get you 20 goals, no problem, in this team. So yeah, it's Wilson's a huge loss, a huge miss. And we initially thought when it happened that Asula was a Paul Mitchell signing, low risk, high yield kind of thing. Then we learned that it's nothing to do with Mitchell, and it was a Harron Tyndall signing. Did nothing at Sheffield United. Went to Derby amongst other teams on loan. Did nothing at all for Derby County in League One. So
Why was he signed then? Yes, I know it's for the
this
future.
is what I was gonna. This is what
Why is he on
it
the bench
just
then?
it
Why is he on the bench? Why is
points
he not
out
with
that
the under twenty
concern,
ones?
doesn't it?
Why is he not with the under
About
twenty ones?
it brings up those concerns about Eddie Howe signings at times. With regards to the people that he signed before, and we've not really seen too much of it because of the likes of the players that we've got and how well we perform. But I do not for the life of me understand why we've signed a Sula. I really don't.
My
There were
argument,
far more. Surely there were better prospects out there for that amount of money as well.
I mean, at
Oh,
least like
Gargaracci.
when Joe Linton played against like Rochdale and freaking Cambridge and shit like that, he looked relatively threatening. Asula didn't really against Wimbledon, did he?
No.
no, but it's like why I get he's for the future, but if you have him on, my argument is if you have him on the bench, you've got a natural striker. We think he's a natural striker, but we haven't seen enough of him. Why isn't he being brought on a lot earlier? You'd like
I
break
agree.
the
I
game,
understand what you're saying.
like we're dominating the game. You know how the game's going. We've
He's
got
not
all,
good enough.
but why is he there then? I mean, why
I
is he
don't
Surely.
there?
know. I
So what
didn't
you
sign
doing?
him.
I find
Then,
it. I
then
just
what you
that's what
doing?
I find difficult to believe. You think you've signed him. You think you've got this prospect. You've got him. Paid him 15, 16 million for him, then realise actually, no, he's shit.
And then you, instead
Do
of
you know what
trusting
I
him,
mean?
then you're playing a winger up top who's actually, in my eyes, is causing more damage to the first team because he's not on the left wing, and we're not creating.
No, he did all right. He did all right. But yeah, no, Sula just reminds. Yeah, just not for me. He'll probably be a midfielder in a couple of seasons.
Where's Kieran Clark when you need him? I want to just touch upon Callum Wilson. Carl, come at you on that one. I am sick of hearing that he's close. He's close. He's close. Why? Why isn't Eddie Howe being transparent with first the fans? If he's out for 3 months, just he's due for 3 months. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
He's
Why?
been out for 3 months.
I know, but why does he keep saying, "Oh, he's close to return"? It's after the international break. We've already had that international break. We've got one coming up in November again. What? Why is he so protective on injuries?
Yeah, one thing I will say, and I might get blasted, but I think I actually do think it's a fair, um, what's the word I'm looking for? A fair assessment. Since Dan Ashworth has left, it feels like all of the departments, which is apparently what he was brought in to do, was to get everybody working together and correlating together. It seems that everybody has just dissipated and gone in the opposite direction. It seems that there's no structure anymore. So maybe there's a lot to be said for what actually we all used to say, oh, well, what does Dan Ashworth actually do or what's he done? I think it's becoming increasingly apparent what he had done and what we've lost since he's gone. So I actually think there's an argument that Eddie Howe doesn't actually know. I don't think he actually truly knows. I think, and just in the sense, because I understand where Lee's going. Why would you not, if you know he's out for 3 months, or he's going to be out for 3 months, or a couple of months, why not just say that? Why say that he's close, or is the information that he's not getting, or the information that he's getting from the medical side, not not
Well, you've
correct,
seen that last
or
season with
proves
the
to be
medical.
incorrect?
You've seen that last season with the medical department, didn't we? The
Yeah,
whole
that's what I mean. Are we still having howlers in the medical department?
it's
I don't know.
it's bonkers as well, and then you've got Matt Target who has X-Man. He's out for like a month or something. I don't know how long he's been out for now.
No, he's back. He just missed a couple of games with that eczema flare up. I think Carl has a point regarding Ashworth. However, I think um, it's just maybe not so harsh on the people that have remained there, but it's like a great reset when you've got someone
Yeah,
new coming in who obviously operates in a different
change in
way.
processes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'll get there. Mitchell again was first choice for Man United, wasn't he?
Mhm.
So it will resolve itself. It just takes a bit of time, and yeah, the next two transfer windows are very very important, and it's a big test of Mitchell, I suppose. Uh, it's just
Is it fair to say then, Sam?
a real crappy sequence of events.
The
The
catalogue of
more we
errors.
talk about things, the more we talk about it, I think for me it becomes more apparent. But is it fair to say that we're almost, arguably, in the same sort of transitional phase that we were when Eddie Howe first came in?
No,
Do
Well,
you not think so?
I
not to
think
that extent.
not that. I
Or
think there's a
maybe at a
little.
deeper level in terms of personnel behind the scenes, etc. And like you've said, Stavely, etc. has gone. Paul Mitchell's come in, so processes are going to change. You know, we've had new medical staff come in, and has there been a downturn in the intensity of training from Eddie Howe to prevent injuries? We're looking at things more analytically in
That's
that
the
sense.
that's the James Bunce factor, isn't it? And then again,
But are
to
these
put
things
this back
having
in this,
an effect?
yeah, absolutely. And then you got the CEO as well because um, of the terrible illness that Darren Hills and his family are
Yeah,
going through at the moment, which is awful. So
it is.
it's just one kind of. I think transitional is kind of the right word, but it's not as big a transition as it was from the initial.
Question. Question
When
then. We sign a right winger in January. Does that fix all the problems in the side?
I think it
potentially.
certainly helps. I think it
Because you need
certainly
Wilson to stay
helps.
fit. You're going to have Botman coming back there as a positive. The thing with me is if you keep Wilson fit and you sign a right winger, Newcastle get into Europe.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It's I enjoy but in the same breath, it's also um, difficult to actually imagine how much of an effect Callum Wilson has on Isak's game, even when he's not playing. That competition that they have
Because
between
Isaac
them to
knows
compete for
mentally,
number
he
nine.
knows that, oh, I'm not getting subbed off, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, shit, I've
And I
got Callum
genuinely
Wilson
do
waiting to
think
come
that's
on.
potentially, Isak, exactly that, because Isak, brilliant, and we know that he's fantastic. Um, but I just think it's natural that you will think those things, even if you're not that type of person. I think it's natural that you think, I'm not going off. Who's coming on? And
Well, Asula,
um,
it's
you
not
can
replacing
place
me.
it, and well, yeah,
No, because he
exactly.
knows he's going to
Um,
start every week, whether or not he
He's out of
scores
form. Right.
or does anything. He's still going to start on Sunday after he had an absolute stinker against Brighton.
yeah,
But just to put point on, because Lee, you said quite flippantly there, oh, we sign a right winger and Wilson stays fit and we get Europe. It's got to be the right winger, as in the
Oh, yeah,
right
yeah.
winger. It's got like if we go and spunk 40 million on Anthony Elanga, then no, we probably
No,
don't
no.
qualify for Europe
For,
because
that
for me,
that's
concerns me.
for me, the dream signing, I said this before the Euros, it was Nico Williams. And obviously, he's went on to have a ridiculous
not
tournament.
going to happen.
And now everyone knows him, right? But that's out the question.
Everyone knew him anyway.
Did the did the
Yes.
noise game really? I don't know about that because everyone's raving about
And
him.
he's more of a left-sided player anyway. You
Yeah,
had
because he's
Mal
moved
on
over
the
there.
right.
He's moved over there. But for me, Premier League proven, it'd have to be, if you went Premier League, a realistic signing is Brian Mbeumo. That's realistic. You're pinching from a smaller club. He's scoring goals. He takes penalties.
Mm.
He takes free kicks. He's pace. He's ticking. He's inverted. You're just ticking all the boxes. And I think you can get him from Brentford. I really do. If you want to go abroad, it opens a can of worms. I know Sam, you've got a few lists as well, but I think you have to strengthen for the side to make it a quality. Keep Callum Wilson fit because if he doesn't, we're going to have Gordon back up top. We're going to have that carry on again. The positives are Botman is coming back. Probably, as I say, January will start. Maybe late January, you might get a run of games here and there. But if we don't get Europe, I think it's a massive summer next season, and I don't think it's a good one. I think one of our big three players are off, possibly even two. I definitely think one of them will be
Yeah,
gone. There's no way they're hanging around for another season with no
no,
European football, and possibly without Eddie Howe there.
100%. And that that that's what's genuinely worrying, because already there is quite
Do
a
you know
big
what it? Do
concern for me
you
that
know what it is as well?
we're not good enough to get European football right now.
I see that as well. I've seen this on social media as that when Tuchel was announced for England, people are saying, "Oh, that should have been Eddie Howe for England. We should have got Tuchel." I'm like, there's some small people that want that change already. I'm like, wait a minute, he's got credit in the bank first, man.
Yeah, he definitely has. And I think 90% of Newcastle United fans want Eddie Howe to succeed and they want him to be the man. And I'm certainly not looking to shop him out for anybody right now. He definitely deserves the season, in my opinion. Don't think he'll get that. Dependent on results, he could get till January, to be honest. Like Sam said, we could be off on the run of 5 losses quite comfortably. And then yeah, we've all said this prior to the season starting. If it doesn't go the right way, it could be gone by Christmas. That's just the unfortunate, realistic nature of where his position is right now. Um, but I would absolutely love him to be successful. I'd love us to go out and get Brian Mbeumo personally. I know some would argue for Kubo.
Yeah,
And
I have come round to the Embuemo idea. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit reticent earlier in the summer when people started mentioning that, but I have very much come round to the idea. I wouldn't be disappointed whatsoever. Yes, there's obviously a few in and around Europe which would possibly
mm,
be a greater value, but yeah, Embuemo could be a bit like our Sadio Mane, perhaps.
yeah,
Yeah,
him and
you
Gordon,
have a point.
or like say even Kubo, but like as like if we get that, then you've got him and Gordon on the wing, whoever that right winger is, and then you've got Harvey Barnes to fill in as well. You've still got Joe Willock, hopefully. They're like, or we might have to sell somebody like Joe Willock. Not that I would want to, but if we don't, I think we comfortably lose Bruno and Isak. Personally, I think they both go if we don't get European football.
PDK with the comment there. When we say Europe, do you mean Champions League? Not necessarily. I think if we get Europe, I think that keeps Eddie Howe in a job.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that keeps him. But
definitely.
I don't think it's all Rose's mind just getting Europa League. I think because the way British clubs are performing, well, I say British English clubs are performing in the Champions League at the minute, looks like they're going to go far. So you never know. Fifth place could get you that as well. But
Makes
before,
me sick. My two least favourite teams are 1 and 2 in the Champions League
but
table.
you never know. It might help us out. You never know at the end of the season. But last one
Mm.
before we wrap up, and everyone drop us a big like if you can. Carl, your starting 11. Now that we've had a debate about centre backs, centre midfield, right wing, right now with no signings, I want your starting 11. Go.
Um, with no injuries or nothing.
Yeah, no injuries. You've got a fully fit squad.
Um, right now, people might not agree, but right now, Trippier, just based on form from Livramento, because I don't think he's been very good lately. Um, Botman
Pope
and
and goal.
Shaw, Pope and goal, sorry, yeah. Lewis Hall out on the left. Honestly, this kid has won me over so much. I think he's so unsung. I think he's fantastic already, though. Um, Tonali, Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton. I think it's starting to work personally. I do. And I'd actually like Joe Willock out on the right, Gordon out on the
Interesting.
left, and Isak up top.
Is that because you just want to see how Willa can get on?
I just think we've seen him there in the years before, and he's done a job. Like
Mm.
we know that he can push forward, and even if you have to switch, and because like somebody made a good point, Anthony Gordon hasn't always been a left winger. He started playing out on the left, when Barnes got injured. He can play out on the right. Yes, he's definitely more effective, I think, on the left in terms of being inverted. But those two can switch for me. I think they're both more than capable of doing that, and the energy that Willett brings. And he can play inverted as well, and he's a goal threat and a box to box midfielder. I think it's a no-brainer to try him there personally.
Go on, then, Sam, you go yours.
Pope and goal. I agree with Carl. Trippier right. Share and Botman, and yeah, Hall. I think the improvement is in him over the past 12 months has been nigh on phenomenal. He's doing a lot better. I'd have Bruno and Tonali in front of those, and then I would have Barnes on the left with Gordon in a free role in a kind of 10-ish. You could put Isak on the right and Wilson up top.
Yeah, you could.
He's tried it in the past with late in the game where he's moved Isak to the left, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And to be honest, Isak
Southampton
does naturally
away,
progress
cup.
out to.
Come on.
Southampton away, cup semi-final first leg. Isak on the right, put the cross in for Joe Linton's goal.
But even against Brighton, when he wasn't getting as much success as he wanted, he naturally progressed out to the right and he put an unbelievable ball in, and
Yeah, he did.
Gordon, nobody
He
was
did.
there.
He has it in his locker, but look, he's a striker and should be at the top of the pile. So that right wing needs some serious investment so Isak can go up top where he obviously belongs. But yeah, it's a tricky one, but we all know the big issue, and it's right wing.
Yeah, mine's similar to Carl. I just wouldn't have Willock on the right. I'd probably switch Barnes and Gordon around because I just think that right wing position is just an issue. I just do, and I wouldn't be against possibly even Willock looking at it, but I think Willock's so good on that left side, bring the ball forward. I
Yeah.
love the link up he's got of Joe Litton, but then do you take that away from Gordon? So, I mean, you could, in theory, maybe have Gordon on the right and have Joe Litton and Willock switching like they did when we were successful
Yeah.
the previous season. That's something to look into, but I just think it's unbalanced until we to get a right winger. But
Yeah. There's a tremendous imbalance there. You could have a whole host of trying to find solutions because like again, but the reality is we have injuries. We have so like our strongest 11s are all ridiculous because we need reinforcements in January. So it doesn't really, it's a moot point essentially. But you could have Joe Linton on the left, and so we can rebuild that relationship with Willock, which worked spectacularly well, with Isak up top. But you're still left trying to plug the same old hole,
ready for Gordon.
with the right winger. So it's a crappy situation which should have been rectified many transfer windows ago.
Yeah, we'll quickly wrap through a couple of comments or a little end. Can Lee's Cat play right wing? Probably do a bit. She's got a lot of pace, so maybe. When we say Europe, do you mean Champions League? I think Europe in general. 100 million for Isak, 100 million for Bruno would do so much for us. Don't know about that.
It's also too cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Isak
but
on the right. Come on, it's
Isak's not helping us out there, really, is he? To be honest, we
yeah, Isak
continues
on the
to
right.
leave
It's not
the
Chat
way.
Manager. I love Chat Manager back in the day.
Completely missed the point there, but okay.
Yeah, Isak on the wings didn't work. People remember that Everton Southampton assists, but it wasn't good. Well, that assist. Wolfson, when does the club shop open? I think it's only a couple of weeks away, isn't it?
Friday.
Oh, well, I thought that's come around quick.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow it opens, I think.
I drove past it last night and it didn't look like ready.
Or is it a week on Friday?
Yeah, I drove past it last night. It definitely wasn't ready last night. Aye, but thank you everyone. We're not normally live this early during the day. We normally kind of do them later on at night. But it's good to get a couple of the old boys back on this live stream, and I hope you have enjoyed that. We'll try and do a few more as well. We've got some Greenwood and Mulliner shows coming up anytime soon, Sam.
Have we?
I don't know. Have we? I'm asking you.
Well, yeah, we do one a week.
Hopefully.
Yeah, Jane Atlanta, you've missed it all. You can watch the rerun of this. Of course, we've got no, we don't have it. And Ellie said a double header. Chelsea away this weekend, which am I the only one there? I think I am.
I'm working,
Yeah,
so I am down south. I'm not far from you, but sadly I won't be there with you this time.
No, just the
Can
men's
we
league women.
can we do a little plug for Sum 41, by the way?
Yeah,
Considering the guitarist is a Newcastle fan.
Yeah,
And I think
man.
that surprisingly struggling to sell some tickets at some events, aren't they, at some locations. And I think that's because not a lot of many people know, but Sum 41, and a lot of people that watch this are our age and older. If you're a Sum 41 fan, they are currently touring on their farewell tour, isn't it, Sam? They're in Leeds on Saturday,
Yeah.
London on Thursday.
See you there.
We've been kindly invited down
welcome.
to London, which is amazing. Yeah, thank you very much, Lee.
No,
Lead
thank you,
guitarist
Dave.
Dave Brown Sound. If you weren't aware of him, is a massive Newcastle fan. Born in Canada, and a fan of the channel, and he's hooked us up. And so yeah, if anyone wants to go and support them, because actually I don't think tickets are too expensive anyway, which is good news. Then please do. We tried to get tickets for Dortmund, but the missus has said no. So
Mine said no as well.
Sum 41 that reminds
Never.
me. Do you remember American Pie? It just reminds me of American Pie all the time because I
Very
mean,
That's the kind of era it was, wasn't
it
it?
was, wasn't it?
Class.
It was good
It's
music.
I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a nice because I've got to a point in my life where I feel like I'm quite far away from those years now. And I almost feel like I'm saying
all getting
farewell to
old,
those
man.
memories as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually gonna be nice.
I'll hit
the
It'll be a
same
good
age.
gig, I think. Yes, we are, but do you not feel the same way?
I do actually. If you'd have told the 12, 13-year-old me about what's happened over the past couple of days, I would be going
Mad.
absolutely crazy. Yeah, I think Lee's right. It's very American Pie vibe. Yeah, that's that whole time, early
was.
2000s. Yeah.
Great movie.
Get to
Great.
relive our youth for a night and then come back home with your parents, don't we?
Yeah, that's mad how they just message me and say, "Look, lads, we love you. Do you want to come on, come down, VIP and all that?" So thank you to Some41 and Dave as well. Thank you to everyone who's watching the rerun. Drop us a like. Loads of content coming up both on channels NFTV and NFT Extra. I think Joe's got a North Shields one as well. We've got lots of coming up this weekend with Chelsea. So from
Audio
us,
podcast is out today for Greenwood and Mulliner show, and yes, but sorry I was so flippant before, Lee, but yes, we do have one next week. We might have a comedian
We
on
might
the
have Dave
show.
Brown sound.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have Dave Brown sound on as well. Dave, if you're watching, hit me up at Sam Mulliner on Instagram. But yeah,
got
we
his number,
will
man.
also have
Yeah,
a stand-up. I'm about to book a stand-up comedian on the show as well, who is very well known.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, and do keep an eye on what membership.
Just a quick one, Les. Are you going to Blues away for the women's?
Women aren't playing this weekend.
No, not
Birmingham
Blues
away the
soon,
week
no.
after.
It's international break.
No, I know that. I mean, is it the 3rd of November? They've got Blues, haven't they?
Birmingham next
Yeah.
weekend, St Andrews.
Are you going down?
Can't wait, Carl. Come on.
Can you sort me out with a ticket?
I'll see.
I feel like this is a conversation for off
I
air.
know we're like just gone on topic. We're messaging that. What I will say is I'll speak on WhatsApp. That's what I will say.
What I'm saying is I'll be there anyway. But yeah,
Aye, because I'll get it.
Come in media wise, that would be good.
Well,
We're
we'll see.
the only thing live on Newcastle Fans TV right now.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking about if Lee can get you a ticket for Newcastle women and some
We
41.
still have an audience.
I mean, Lee's tried to wrap up about 10 minutes ago.
I know. We still have an audience of over 100 people watching.
100 people
this is what
watching this
happens.
crap.
Drop us
All
a
I would like to say is I cannot be so more thankful for what this channel has given us some crazy opportunities. To be fair, hasn't it? It has given us some crazy opportunities. So I just want to say thank you to everybody.
I talk shite about sport for a living now.
Yeah, I know. It's mental.
Who'd have thought that?
Brilliant. Right, I will wrap up this time. And no, we can't send people out for Sam Fender tickets and all this sort of stuff. Stop asking us.
I don't think so. I don't think Sam watches the channel.
No, I think Sam Fender's a little bit too big. Not saying
yeah, but Mrs. asked me that earlier. She was like, "Oh, but you got some 41 stuff." I was like, "Yeah, but Fender's big time now, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, that's it from all us three. Take care, everyone. Ta-da.